At my daughter's graduation, I didn't agree to pay for my ex-husband's new car. He snatched the microphone and announced, "Your mother cares more about money than you." The crowd turned cold. I walked up and said, "Funny, since you haven't paid child support in years." Care to explain? Emily's graduation day was supposed to be a celebration of her hard work and achievements. She had just received her diploma from Lincoln Park High School in Chicago, a proud moment for both of us. The ceremony took place in the school's gymnasium, adorned with blue and gold banners, the school's colors. Family and friends filled the bleachers, their cheers echoing off the walls as each graduate's name was called. After the ceremony, I hosted a small gathering at our modest home in the Lincoln Park neighborhood. The living room was decorated with balloons and streamers, and a banner that read, "Congratulations, Emily," hung above the fireplace. A buffet table was set up with Emily's favorite dishes, and a cake decorated with the school's emblem sat in the center. Mark, my ex-husband, arrived with his new wife, Lisa, and their toddler son, Alex. Mark and I had divorced when Emily was 5. Initially, he had been involved in her life, but over the years, his presence became sporadic. Child support payments were inconsistent, and eventually, they stopped altogether. Despite court orders, Mark always had an excuse: job instability, health issues, or other financial obligations. I took on extra work, often juggling 2 jobs, to ensure Emily had everything she needed. During the party, guests mingled, laughter filled the air, and Emily was the center of attention. Mark pulled me aside into the kitchen. He was dressed in a crisp suit, a stark contrast to his usual casual attire. His expression was serious. "I have a proposition," he began, his tone suggesting he believed I would be interested. I raised an eyebrow, waiting for him to continue. "I've been eyeing a new car," he said, "a luxury model. I think it would be a great symbol of our success as co-parents, showing Emily that we can come together for her milestones." I stared at him, incredulous. "You want me to co-sign a loan for a luxury car?" He nodded. "Mark, you haven't paid child support in years. I've been the one supporting Emily financially. And now you want me to risk my credit for your car?" His expression darkened. "It's just a signature. It won't cost you anything." I shook my head. "I can't do that. My priority is Emily's future, not your car." Mark's face flushed with anger. Without another word, he stormed out of the kitchen and into the living room where the guests were gathered. He grabbed the microphone intended for speeches and tapped it to get everyone's attention. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice echoing through the room, "I want to share something with you all. Today, I asked Emily's mother for a simple favor, something that would show our unity as parents. But she refused. It seems she cares more about money than celebrating this special day with our daughter." The room fell silent. All eyes turned to me. I felt a surge of anger and humiliation. Taking a deep breath, I stepped forward. "Funny," I said, my voice steady but firm, "since you haven't paid child support in years. Care to explain?" A murmur spread through the crowd. Mark's face turned a deeper shade of red. He opened his mouth to speak, but then closed it, seemingly at a loss for words. Emily stood nearby, her face pale, eyes wide with shock and embarrassment. Tears welled up as she looked between her parents, the joyous occasion now marred by public confrontation. Lisa, Mark's new wife, shifted uncomfortably, clearly embarrassed by her husband's behavior. She reached for Alex, who was tugging at her dress, oblivious to the tension in the room. The guests avoided eye contact, some whispering among themselves, others looking down at their drinks or shifting their weight awkwardly. I turned to Emily, my heart aching for her. "Sweetheart, I'm so sorry this happened today. This is your day, and I'm proud of you." She nodded slowly, wiping a tear from her cheek. "Can we just end the party now?" she whispered. I nodded. Turning to the guests, I forced a smile. "Thank you all for coming. I think we'll wrap things up now. Please, help yourselves to some cake before you go." As the guests began to disperse, Mark stood frozen, realizing the gravity of what had just transpired. He had attempted to humiliate me, but had only succeeded in exposing his own shortcomings. After the last guest left, I sat with Emily on the couch. She leaned her head on my shoulder. "Mom, why did he do that?" she asked softly. I sighed. "I don't know, honey. Sometimes people let their pride get in the way of what's truly important." She nodded. "I'm glad you stood up for yourself. For us." I kissed the top of her head. "Always." That night, as I lay in bed, I reflected on the day's events. The confrontation was unexpected and painful, but it also brought clarity. The next morning, I woke up to a storm of messages on my phone. Texts, missed calls, notifications from Facebook and Instagram. I didn't even know half the people messaging me. Apparently, someone had recorded Mark's little speech and my response. It was already making the rounds on local social media pages. Someone had posted it with the caption, "Dad shames mom during daughter's graduation party, gets hit with truth." The video had thousands of views. Some comments were supportive, others nosy, a few downright nasty. I didn't care about strangers' opinions, but Emily saw it too. She came into the kitchen holding her phone. "Mom, it's everywhere." Her voice was shaking, but not from sadness. She was angry. "He's such a damn liar. And now people at school are messaging me about it." I felt sick. I had tried to protect her from all of this. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. I'll figure out how to make it stop." But I had no control over the internet. And Mark? He didn't apologize. In fact, he doubled down. The next day, he posted a long rant on Facebook. He said I was bitter, that I'd used Emily to milk him for years, that he was a target of public shaming, and the truth would come out soon. Then he added that he was talking to his lawyer. That made me laugh out loud. His lawyer? This man hadn't even shown up to court 3 times for child support hearings. But then something unexpected happened. I got a letter in the mail from the county court. It wasn't about child support, it was a petition for joint custody modification. Mark was trying to get shared custody of Emily. At first, I didn't take it seriously. Emily was 18. Custody didn't even apply anymore. But when I read the fine print, I realized what he was really after. He was claiming I had alienated Emily from him and was now trying to get legal access to any financial aid or scholarships she might receive. Because she was still living at home, he was arguing he had a right to be included in any decisions about her future schooling. That's when it hit me. This wasn't about Emily. It was about money. Again. I took the letter to my lawyer, Denise, who had helped me during the divorce years ago. She read it and frowned. "This is shaky, but he's persistent. We'll have to respond formally. And we'll need documentation of all the missed child support, your financial contributions, and anything showing he's been absent." I had all of it. I kept every receipt, every court order, every ignored email. But Emily was furious. "He doesn't care about me. He just wants to make trouble. I don't even want to see him anymore." I told her we'd handle it legally and not let him drag us into drama again. But Mark wasn't done. He started showing up at Emily's part-time job at a bookstore in Wicker Park. Not in a confrontational way, he'd just browse, pretend he was shopping, and try to make small talk with her. The manager asked him to leave once. Then again. The 3rd time, they banned him from the store. Emily came home that day shaking. "Mom, he's not right. He's acting like some stranger. I don't know what he's trying to prove." I called Mark and left a voicemail. "If you don't stop harassing our daughter, I'll get a restraining order. You've crossed a line." He didn't respond. Then, about a week later, something happened that changed everything. I was driving home from work when I got a call from Emily's college advisor. She asked if we had submitted a FAFSA revision recently, because she saw a second parent signature appear on the account. I slammed on the brakes and pulled over. "What do you mean?" I asked. "It was signed digitally. It appears Mark added himself as a contributor. He's now listed as a parent of record. He had hacked into her account. Or guessed her login. Or maybe convinced someone to help him. I didn't know yet. I called the Department of Education and reported fraud. Then I called my lawyer. This wasn't a custody issue anymore. This was legal fraud. That night, I sat down with Emily and went over everything. "You're 18. You get to decide who is in your life. But he's crossed too many lines. We have to take action. She didn't argue. I want to file something too, she said. He's trying to steal from me. I'm done pretending he's my dad. We filed a formal police report for digital fraud. The college was notified. The FAFSA account was locked down with new verification steps. But damage had already started. Some of her aid applications were delayed. We had to send in extra paperwork to prove the information was false. Emily was trying to focus on her upcoming move to campus. But now, she had to attend meetings with financial aid officers and fill out affidavits about her estranged parent. Mark's Facebook rants continued. He started tagging people in our family. My sister, Emily's friends, anyone who had ever posted about her. At one point, he posted an old photo of the three of us at Navy Pier, years ago, with the caption, "She was my whole world before her mother poisoned her." People started blocking him. Some reached out to me and asked if he was okay. He seems unwell, one friend messaged me. It got worse. He sent a long email to Emily's chosen university's administration, claiming she had mental health struggles and that he was concerned for her ability to live independently. It was complete nonsense. He was trying to interfere with her enrollment. That was the moment I knew we couldn't just keep playing defense. We had to go on the offense. My lawyer filed for a permanent restraining order, not just for me, but for Emily too. And then something unexpected came up during discovery. Something that changed the way I looked at everything. There was a second child support case file in another county. Apparently, I wasn't the only one he owed money to. Mark had another kid. A boy. From a relationship right after our divorce. That boy was now 13. His mother had sued for support, and he'd been dodging her for nearly a decade too. Emily had a half-brother she never knew about. I didn't know how to tell her. I wasn't sure if she even wanted to know. But I had a feeling Mark was going to try to use this secret somehow. Because Mark? He wasn't just desperate. He was unraveling. I waited a few days before telling Emily about the half-brother. I didn't want to drop another bomb when she was still dealing with the fallout from Mark's stunts. But life didn't wait for us to be ready. One evening, while we were eating dinner in silence, Emily's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and frowned. It's a Facebook message. From someone named Allison Vega. I froze. That was the name on the second child support file. Emily opened it slowly. She read silently for a few seconds, then her face twisted into something between shock and anger. She says she's my brother's mom. That she thought I should know she's trying to get child support too. She said Mark told her I was spoiled and ungrateful, that he wanted to give her son what he never could give me. I put down my fork. That's not true. He never gave you anything. Emily kept scrolling, her fingers trembling. She says she's sorry. That her son, Jaden, knows about me. That he's seen pictures. Then she looked up at me. She sent a picture. Of him. I got up and sat beside her. The kid looked like Mark. Same eyes. Same smirk. It was eerie. He looked a little like Emily too. He was standing next to a birthday cake with a 13 candle on it. No decorations. Just a kitchen table and a tired-looking woman behind him. Allison. She said he wants to meet me. I didn't know what to say. I wanted to say no, not now, not with everything else going on. But I also knew that wasn't my call to make. You don't have to decide anything right now, I said gently. Emily stared at the screen a little longer. Then, without speaking, she turned off the phone and walked to her room. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Allison. Had she gone through the same hell I did? Chasing a ghost who kept making promises and vanishing? Why had Mark hidden this from everyone? The next morning, I called Denise again. I asked if we could use the second child support case to strengthen our own. Absolutely, she said. It shows a pattern. It helps us show the court he's acting in bad faith. I sent her everything Allison had sent Emily. I wasn't sure if Emily would ever reach out to Jaden, but I could at least use the truth to protect her. Mark must have caught wind that we were building something. Because a few days later, I came home to a manila envelope taped to my front door. It was a cease and desist letter. from a cheap online legal service. He accused me of harassment and public defamation and demanded I remove all posts, media, and comments related to him. I laughed out loud. This man had started a war, posted rants for weeks, harassed his daughter, committed digital fraud, and now he wanted me to stop? I handed the letter to Denise, who filed it right into the folder labeled "More BS from Mark." But Mark wasn't done. His next move? A podcast interview. Some local family values YouTube guy, probably someone desperate for content, interviewed Mark over Zoom. The video was posted a day later, fathers fighting back, one man's story of estrangement. It was 27 minutes of lies. He said I turned Emily against him, that I faked his income to keep him paying support, that I used the court system like a weapon. He even showed that old photo again, the one from Navy Pier. Said it was the last time we were a real family. It had thousands of views within hours. And the worst part? The comments. Men saying, "This is why dads give up," or "The system is rigged against men." I saw red. Emily didn't say much about it. She saw it too, of course. Her friends sent her the link before I could warn her. She just came to me later that night and said, "Can we talk to a real reporter?" It caught me off guard. What do you mean? I mean, if he's going to tell lies on the internet, I want to tell the truth. The whole truth. I hesitated. The idea of putting our story out there made me nervous. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized this wasn't just our story. There were hundreds of women like me. Kids like Emily. Even women like Allison, raising kids with zero help. So we did it. A local Chicago paper agreed to do a story. A real one. Fact-checked, documented, careful. We gave them the court documents. Screenshots. Emails. The FAFSA fraud report. Even the other support case. The article was called "The Graduation Speech Heard Round Chicago, A Mother's Fight Against the Father Who Walked Away." It went viral within 24 hours. The tone shifted online. People started commenting on the original video again, but now defending me, praising Emily's strength, calling Mark out. The guy who'd interviewed him tried to backtrack, saying he didn't know the full story. Mark? He lost it. He showed up at my job. He walked into the hospital where I worked the early morning shift at the information desk. Security was called before he even made it past the lobby, but the fact that he even tried, it rattled me. That was when Denise filed for an emergency order. The judge granted it. A full protective order for both me and Emily. And that wasn't the end. Because 2 days later, we got another email. This time, from a woman named Celia. The subject line just said, "You don't know me, but I know Mark too." She wasn't a girlfriend. She was his former coworker. She said she'd seen him fake pay stubs to lower his child support obligation. She said he used to brag about playing the system. She had saved emails. Screenshots. I asked her if she'd be willing to send them to my lawyer. She didn't even hesitate. With those, Denise said we might actually have enough to press charges for fraud. Real charges. But the final twist? When the court subpoenaed Mark's bank records as part of the fraud investigation, they found something else. He had the money. All along. Child support arrears, college expenses, everything. He'd just been hiding it in a business account under Lisa's name. They had started a fake consulting company. It had no employees. No clients. Just deposits from his freelance gigs. He was never broke. He just didn't want to pay for his kid. And now we had proof. When Denise showed me the report from the subpoena, I just sat there, staring at the numbers. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Money that could have paid for Emily's school, her braces, those years I worked double shifts, skipped meals, wore shoes with holes in them. Money that Mark pretended didn't exist. It wasn't just hidden, it was stolen. That same night, I got a call from Allison. She was crying. Her child support case got updated with the same documents we'd uncovered. The court finally believed her too. Jaden's arrears shot up, and suddenly Mark had 2 court orders demanding money from 2 mothers. But the system is slow. We both knew it. Emily stayed quiet through all of this. I could tell she was waiting for something. Not revenge exactly, but something like justice. I didn't know what that would look like until she came into the living room one evening with her laptop. I want to go public again. Not with a newspaper. A video. She had made a short documentary-style video. Nothing fancy. Just her voice, pictures, screenshots, and a calm, steady telling of everything. The graduation. The FAFSA fraud. The podcast lies. The hidden money. She ended the video with a picture of her 10th birthday party. Just her and me, sitting in our tiny kitchen with a single cupcake. This is who raised me. Not the man who shows up when there's an audience. We posted it on her YouTube channel. She shared it on her social media. It exploded. It wasn't angry. It wasn't loud. It was real. People started tagging the podcast host who interviewed Mark, calling him out, demanding an apology. He deleted the video. Then, his channel. Then, all his socials. Lisa, Mark's wife, messaged me. She wasn't mad. She sounded scared. He told me the money was for us. For a future. I didn't know he was lying. I didn't know about the other kid. She filed for separation 2 weeks later. By then, the fraud case had grown teeth. The Department of Education opened a formal investigation. Mark was served papers again, this time for federal student aid fraud. The kind that doesn't go away quietly. He tried to run. Literally. Sold his car, emptied the business account, and skipped a court hearing. But he wasn't smart. He used the same email to book a flight. The same one tied to his FAFSA fraud. They picked him up in Texas, trying to hide at his cousin's place. The trial was fast. He pled guilty. His lawyer begged for leniency, but the judge wasn't interested. Especially not after hearing from both me and Emily during sentencing. Emily read her statement in front of the whole courtroom. Calm. Clear. No tears. I used to wonder why my dad didn't love me. Then I wondered what I did wrong. But now I see it wasn't about me. It was about who he really is. And I want the court to make sure he can't hurt anyone else the way he hurt me. The judge gave him 3 years in prison. And a full restitution order. Over $180,000 owed to me and Allison combined. But money couldn't fix what he broke. I didn't care about the cash. Not really. I just wanted it on record. I wanted the world to know he was a liar, a thief, a coward. Emily got into college. Full ride. After the documentary blew up, she got several scholarships from women's organizations. People emailed, offering to help. She said no to most of them. She said she didn't want handouts, just the truth to matter. As for me, I made mistakes. I stayed quiet too long. I let shame keep me from exposing Mark earlier. I let him manipulate things, thinking it was better to keep the peace. But peace built on lies always cracks. I thought revenge would feel dirty. It didn't. It felt like sunlight. The day Mark was transferred to prison, I made a cake. Chocolate. Just me and Emily in the kitchen again, laughing. And when we cut the cake, she looked at me and said, "You didn't just raise me, Mom. You saved me." That was the ending I needed. Not his punishment. Her freedom.